I feel like I need, whoa. I feel like I need a third monitor just for chat monitoring. It's so tempting to just get like another monitor right here just to have all my chats in one spot to see it. It has been a while since I've talked into a mic. It would be really nice. It's kind of like, ooh, that'd be kind of fun to have like 3 monitors. One that's like I don't think it could be vertical. It'd have to be horizontal, and it would just like sit right here, but it would block all the light that comes in. It wouldn't work. I think I'm a little sick right now. Somebody asked for a drip check. I'm literally just wearing a Skims maxi dress from Skims. I don't think it would work because I don't have enough desk. Like maybe if I stood it up right here, but then it's still like, I don't know. 3 is a minimal human need. It really does. I feel like I need like another, like a micro monitor for chat, you know? And it doesn't help that I have the Elgato like capture camera thing and it just doesn't work. Hello everyone, just to see how the job search is going. It's not going, you know. It's not going. I am still looking for a job. The convos are starting with Twitch. But you know, we're working on it. Geez, I'm also live right now on the Hack5 channel. And so the Hack5 channel is going to need extra eyes on it today, as I snap that chat into place as they get used to me live streaming. I have 3 ultra wides and one that's on your, you have 3 ultra wides? Where do you put them all? Where do you put 3 ultra wides? I have 1 ultra wide on my other desk and I'm like, that's good, we're good. How am I feeling? I feel a little sick, if we're being honest. I feel a little sick, a little under the weather today, but we're here. We're working on it. How big is each monitor? How big is each monitor on my desk? I think my ultra wide is 38 inches, and that one's over there. That's at the secret second desk, because I have 2 desks at my apartment. And this, what is in my stream setup right now? Hold on. What is my stream setup? Kit.co/ending with Ali. I literally have to look up what's in my stream setup. Hold on. What's in my stream setup? What monitor do I have? I use for my stream setup, two 32-inch HDR curved monitors. So I use that. I use 2 32-inch ones. And then my ultra wide is 39 inches, something like that. I prefer to have 2 desks. One is my like content creation desk, and then the other one is my like work desk. So when I'm working, there's just not enough space on this desk to feel comfortable enough to be able to like get into the work. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to be able to do this. You know, I worked my ass off to be able to have a space where I can have 2 desks. And I'm very, very grateful. Also, finding a spot in New York where you can have 2 desks automatically, very lucky. Somebody in the Hack5 chat asked, why am I trying to find a new job? As a reminder for the Hack5 people, and I think that a lot of people at Hack5 forget this, Hack5 is not my full-time job. Hack5 is something I do on the side. I am a full-time software engineer. I write back-end code. I've written Golang for 2 years now, and I was let go from my full-time job that gives me benefits and healthcare. I currently do not have benefits in healthcare. So you have 330. Okay, security doc, I need you to go into my Discord and drop a photo of what your setup looks like, because I cannot fathom 34-inch monitors. Also, wait, is Jordan still in chat? How was the parade this weekend? I saw that it was going on. I saw on your Instagram story. It looks super fun. This is where, as a European, I have to state it's crazy. Losing your job means losing your healthcare. Yeah, Eurocore. Someone got NeoVim on a phone. Oh my god. Anyways, if you had one desk, you could fit more monitors. Also use. I have a KVM switch. It doesn't actually attach to anything. That's the funny part, is I have a KVM switch. It just sits there. I got it off of Kickstarter, and I just like bought it randomly because people were talking about it, and because I have disposable income and I buy random stupid shit I don't use. My hair is so frizzy right now. I'm gonna. Mikachu says I have a 32-inch monitor and I feel like it's too big. I can't imagine 3. What's a KVM switch? A keyboard video mouse switch. It allows you to switch like between, like, it allows you to switch between. It allows you to move your keyboard, monitors, and mouse to different. Oh, which KVM switch? The KVM switch I do have, actually, I don't care if I unplug it. It's not doing anything. I have the Jet KVM switch, so it's not actually. I don't think it's like a legitimate KVM switch in the normal sense of a KVM switch. Someone says you could look for a job in Europe. I think there's plenty of security offers. I'm not moving to Europe. I live in America. And second of all, I don't work in cybersecurity for my full-time job. What's my Discord tag? !Discord. And then you could join the Discord and you could just post a photo there. Is it IP KVM? Yeah, it's not a real KVM. It's not a real KVM. How did I get involved with Hack 5? I went up to them, and then they asked me if I wanted to join, and I said, hell yeah, brother. What was your previous field? I'm still a software engineer. It's still not a previous field. Streaming is not my full-time job. Content is not my full-time job. I am just a software engineer. Why not work remotely for Europe? Because Europe doesn't pay that well compared to working and getting paid in America. I don't do cybersecurity. I am a software engineer. I need people to remember that. I'm a software engineer first. What's my salary goal? My salary goal is a number. It is 3 numbers. Preferably it starts with a 2, but if it starts with a 1, it better be a high 1. Sorry I keep touching my hair. It really fucking bothers me because it's so frizzy, and I spent all of yesterday doing it. And then for this weather to come in and just call me a bitch and then tell me my hair is ugly is really great. Do I send? Listen, I'm not gonna throw. Here's the situation for all the people on chat who are trying to give me application advice. I'm just gonna give it to you straight. If you throw your application into a pile right now, it's never getting reviewed. Regardless of what I have on my resume, it's not getting reviewed because there are hundreds of thousands of applicants. That's why I'm being so public about this job search, because I have a higher chance of getting a job through strong introductions through to hiring managers and recruiters through being online than I do just randomly putting my name into the buckets, you know? So if you are involved in hiring and or have a direct connection to a hiring manager, that is the only connections. Like, don't send me, or a referral link. If you send me a referral link, I can do that, but don't just say like you should apply to company. How is that gonna help me? I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry to sound really bitchy right now, but it's like, people are just like, oh, you should apply to work at this company. I'm like, yeah, So should you. I don't like the way that this sounds, and it sounds super entitled, but it's just kind of the truth is like, like I can look for companies and apply to them on my own. I don't need people to tell me what companies are hiring. I can find that plenty. What I need and how the community can help me is introductions to hiring managers, recruiters, and or referral links. That's the only thing that genuinely helps. Just telling me companies doesn't really help. That's where, like, have I thought about creating my own startup? God, that sounds like my hell on earth. There is no cybersecurity, probably, maybe. You can't be protected, probably, maybe. Someone in the Hack5 chat asked if I'm stressed. Always. Launch a startup, I'll be an intern? No. Do you ever worry about social media / streaming affecting my job search? Yes and no. I think that I'm gonna do this regardless of where I work. And I think that if a company is worried about my representation on social media, I like to remind them that before they received my resume, they didn't know where I worked. And I was there for 2 years. Before they talked to me in a professional sense, they didn't know I was at a previous company, and they still don't know where I work. So if you as a company are worried about me having a social media standing and me talk about the company online, do you know where I work? Before you got my resume, did you know where I worked before now? If anything, I worry more that a company is going to want me to go online and represent the company. And I've had this conversation a few times on stream. If a company wants me to go online and or talk to customers and or be presently active, front facing for the company, that is 100, that's too low for me. 120 is way too low for me. If the company wants me to be front facing in any way, like if they want me to go to conferences, if they want me to share things about the company online, if they want me to put the company name in my social media in my bio, that's a separate contract. That's a separate soft sponsorship contract to me. And that is a separate conversation than my job as a back-end engineer. And so it's really important for me to have that distinction. So yeah. If a company wants me to do that, that's not happening. Why do I have this affectation? I don't know. This is the way I talk. What's the best computer language to learn to get into software development? Don't get into software development, respectfully. Would you consider going out and starting my own company? Why do people keep asking me that? The answer is no. If I wanted to start a startup, I would have started a startup. I'm just saying, like, if I wanted a startup, I would have started one already. It's like weird that people ask me if I wanted to raise capital, if I wanted to start a company, I would have started one and I would have had capital by now. I have no interest in being a startup founder right now. I'm not gonna just start a startup because I can't get a job, unlike some people in this industry. Empty ways. Anyways, I'm kind of sick right now. I'm not having fun. Anyways, this playlist is not the right playlist. I don't know what playlist this goes to at all. Oh, this is just the brat. That doesn't make sense. Lol. This is just some like city pop situation. General? Bro. Oh my god. Okay, what? Bro, you got like a... This is crazy. This is the like... That's insane. This is like a warship. This is a warship. This is like a this is a rig. This is a fucking rig. What are you doing that you feel like you need this many? What are you doing that you feel like you need this many monitors, like this much screen space? I don't understand. What are you doing? Let's see. Microsoft Teams L. Teams L. Is this a subtle advertisement for your company? Very funny. Are you like trying to brag at the same time? Are you trying to brag at the same time you're up down seat? Bro's like trying to brag, get free advertisement, and and like trying to show off his course, his up down time. But the huge L is that he uses... Oh, I just got really lightheaded. He uses Teams. Not even a split keyboard, and not a real computer. I work in cyber, teach university classes / write books. I kind of wish my setup looked like this though. Like, I kind of wish that it looked like that, where you could just like turn. But then like your monitors are so long that if you're like typing at like one end of the computer over there, you kind of have to go like, you know? What's wrong with Microsoft Teams? Everything. Everything is wrong with Microsoft Teams. Professor Ali, never. Teams is genuinely the worst. See, but also, why do you have Teams and Slack? Is this all on a Mac? Is this all Mac? No, that's a Windows computer. There's a Mac there. That's a Mac setup. What are you doing? Linux on the last one? Is this just... No, wait, how many monitors do you have? Okay, that's 1. That's 2. 3, 4? Do you think you'll get a job now? I'm sorry. Six monitors? Bro. That's crazy. Many companies using Teams now. Yeah, to me, I'm just gonna say if a company uses Teams, to me that means that they're inherently they're not investing in tooling to help prioritize making their to prioritize developer productivity. Like genuinely, I think that if a company uses Teams, they're not investing in their engineers. I don't care about Jira, but I used Teams back when it first launched in 2019. The search sucked. It still sucks. Teams is still absolutely horrible. Genuinely. And Teams is free if you use the Microsoft suite, which we all inherently know is automatically, if a company is Microsoft first, we all know that there's something wrong there. It's better than before, but still bad. It's still horrible. Anyways, what's the plan today, everyone? We're talking about cybersecurity news. What's trending right now? What's like the big cybersecurity tea? Like what's the tea? What's the gossip? What's everyone talking about right now? I haven't been online really. As I said, I was kind of going through a depressive episode. We're pushing the ends of it right now, which is nice, but it was not fun. But what's trending? What are people talking about in cybersecurity? Federal employees use Teams because government likes OS 365. Yes. What's the trends in cybersecurity right now? What are people talking about? I literally do not know. What's going on? Let's check the Discord and check out the security stories that have been shared in the Discord. Let's see. It's the 9th. Deloitte faces alleged data breach, GitHub credentials and source code. Cellbrite says the deal with the accelerated identification phone unlocking firm Cellbrite to acquire mobile testing. Anyways. What else is trending with cybersecurity? Those stories are not worth my time. Respectfully. So nothing good happening there. Let's pop on our first few stories. Oh my God, please minimize that. Go there, go there. Someone's got those click keyboards and it shows, yeah, that's me. I have the clicky keyboards. I love my clicky keyboards. Let's do leak code. No, I need to write Threatwire. Anybody see a new RCS attack today? No, I didn't see that. What do you mean by RCS? Why do I have a split keyboard? Because it's good. Botnets, OpenAI bans ChatGPT accounts using, okay, new supply chain hits NPM. What's cybersecurity researchers? If it's again, Socket is on a fucking presser right now. Oh my God. You got hit with it? Oh, that sucks, I'm sorry. What are the Discord links? I have a Discord for my private chat stuff. So if you want to join my Discord, you go to my Twitch channel and then you can find the Discord links there. Google exposes vishing group, chaos rat malware, NPM. Literally, again, I bet this is Socket. I bet this is Socket again. Socket, what is... They are on a press rampage right now. Socket is on a press rampage right now. It's like every 5 seconds they are finding a vulnerability in some NPM situation, and it's like they have to get it in every single press, every single like press write-up has to happen. Let's say new cryptojacking campaign, socket, calling it. Oh, this is Wiz. Just kidding. Ha. Pre-installed apps, Qualcomm, secret defense strategy, fake recruiter emails target CFOs using legit NetBird tool. Oh, interesting. Yes, I did hear about the cyber attacks on all the stores. Not very interesting in the reality of things. State of ransomware, Kaspersky. These are old. Let's see. Next. Ars Technica. Whoa. Hello? Classic. What is going on? Grid? Okay. That was really weird. Security, let's see. Cyber criminals turn to residential proxy to hide malicious traffic. You cannot technically distinguish which traffic in a node is bad and which is good. Interesting. Millions of low-cost Android devices turn home networks into crime platforms. 2 certificate authorities booted from good graces of Chrome. Interesting. Meta and Yandex are de-anonymizing Android web users' browsers. Okay. Google says its Chrome browser will stop trusting. Hold on. Google says its Chrome browser will stop trusting certificates from 2 certificate authorities after patterns of concerning behavior observed over the past year. The 2 organizations, Taiwan-based Chunghua Telecom and Budapest-based Netlock, are amongst the dozens of certificate authorities trusted by Chrome and most other browsers to digitally provide digital. Over the past several months and years, we observed a pattern of compliance failures, unmet improvement commitments, and the absence of tangible, measurable progress in response to publicly disclosed incident response. They wrote Tuesday. Interesting. This might be interesting. What's today's date? New. June 9, 2025. Chrome to stop trusting certificate authorities. Interesting. This could be interesting. We'll pull these out here for now. We'll come back to those. Gray market services known as bulletproof hosts have been a key tool for cyber criminals looking to anonymously maintain web infrastructure with no threats asked. But as global law enforcement scrambles to crack down on digital threats, they have developed strategies for getting customer information from these hosts and have increasingly targeted the people behind services. SleuthCon. I've heard great things about SleuthCon. Kind of always wanted to go. Sounds super fun. Just have never been employed when it happens, or I've been employed. It's just can never get employers to care. Why is this showing that there? Pause that. Okay. Rather than relying on web hosts, the issues you cannot tell who's who it's good in terms of internet freedom, but super tough to analyze what's going on. Sorry, wait. Alternative approaches. Okay, so this is reporting on research. Originally appeared on Wired. This is reporting on research. In an effort to evade detection, cybercriminals are increasingly turning to residential proxy services that cover their tracks, making it look like everyday offline activity. Wah! Vibe coding is here to stay. Can it ever be secured? No. I still have not watched Mr. Robot. Android update. Okay, we've already covered that. FBI. Exits for Halcyon. No. Boring, boring, McBoring. Leadership, trust, and cyber hygiene. Old pressures. CISA issues 7 ICS advisories targeting critical infrastructure flaws. He hacked servers, not people, but still left a $4.5 million mess behind. Can the EU lead digital future? Okay, so we've already looked at all those stories. Oh, I dropped my clip. Where'd it go? Clip. Where'd my clip go? Okay. Grocery wholesale giant United Natural Foods hit with cyber attack. New Mirai botnet. It seems. Is this the same socket story? No, it's actually a different firm. Thank God. It just seems like every other story is about software supply chain. Ugh. Interlock ransomware. 10 million. Unveils free EU cyber program for governments. FBI. Breaching. Cisco warns of ISE and CPP flaws. Ukraine, Biden cash, NFT airdrop scams. Of course, there's always data breach, target Salesforce accounts and data extortion class attack. Backdoored GitHub code. Interesting. What's this? A hacker targets other blah blah discovered by Sophos, whom a client contacted to estimate the danger of a rat. Found the Sakura rat code was essentially non-functional, but had a pre-built event in a VS project, Visual Studio project, that downloads and installs malware on devices of those who attempt to compile it. The publisher was discovered to be directly or indirectly linked to another 141 GitHub repositories, 133 of them which dropped hidden backdoors. Not interesting. Coinbase breach tied Coinbase breach tied to bribe to task us support agents in India. Ah, okay. Finally, a Ruby gem. Very interesting. 3 things the news doesn't tell you. ConnectWise, screen connect bug, exploited in attacks, Victoria's Secrets, new Chrome 0 day, Cartier. Wow. Cartier. Let's see, what else is going on? And then where's the... You can do hack read. I'm pretty sure this one never updates. Oh, it does update sometimes. Researcher figured out how to reveal any phone number linked to a Google account. Ooh. Wired. Oh, it's going to be behind. No! Paid! A cybersecurity researcher was able to figure out the phone number linked to any Google account, information that is usually not public and is often sensitive, according to the researcher Google and 404's own media tests. Oh, thank you so much for the bits. The issue has been fixed, but at the time presented a privacy issue in which even hackers with relatively few resources could have brute forced their way to people's personal information. The independent security researcher who found the issue goes by the handle BruteCat, wrote in an email, SIM swappers. So BruteCat, Google phone number finder. Let's see. There we go. Okay, here's the write-up. Brute forcing the phone number of any Google user. A few months ago, I disabled JavaScript in my browser while testing if there were any Google services any Google services left that still worked without JavaScript in the modern web browser. Interesting enough, the username recovery form still worked. This surprised me, as I used to think these account recovery forms required JavaScript since 2018, as they relied on bot guard solutions generated from heavily obfuscated proof-of-work JavaScript code for anti-abuse. Heavily obfuscated proof-of-work JavaScript code for anti-abuse. Heavily obfuscated proof-of-work? What is proof-of-work JavaScript code? Does anyone know what proof-of-work JavaScript code is? I have gone to the AI. Because I've only heard of proof of work in regards to crypto as a way to like own, like, get new coins or whatever, and like approve a blockchain. So ChatGPT says, in this context, proof of work is a computational challenge that your browser has to solve using JavaScript before you're allowed to proceed, like submitting an account recovery form. This is not mining crypto, but the similar idea. It is used to slow bots down, prove the user is using a real browser, and make abuse extensive or harder. The page runs some JavaScript that does some math. Your computer solves it. It proves you're likely a human. It allows you to submit the form. The JavaScript code that does the proof of work and bot detection is intentionally scrambled and unreadable. Okay, interesting. The username recovery form seemed to allow you to check if a recovery email or phone number was associated with a specific display name. This required 2 HTTP requests. This gave us an S value. The cookie and GFX values are from the initial page HTML. Hold on, I lost Twitch chat. Give me a second. This gave us an ESS value tied to that phone number we can use for the next HTTP request. Okay, hold on. Post sign-in username recovery. And then the cookie and GFX values are from the initial page HTML. Where does this call from? Accept, and then this email, what is this from? Is that the return? No. And the GXF. Oh, here. GXF. Okay, so this is part of the post request body, I'm assuming. Interesting. URL form encoded. Okay, understood. Responses gave us an ESS value tied. The response. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that we can use for the next HTTP request, but you have the email phone number right there. The request. This allows us to check if a Google account exists with the phone number as well as display the name. Oh, okay, interesting. Post sign in, username, recovery, lookup, accounts. Why is my finger hurting? That's so weird. No account found versus an account found. Oh. This allows us to check if a Google account exists with that phone number as well as the display name. Can we even brute force this? Why do you keep typing exclamation point help? It doesn't exist. My first attempts were futile. It seemed to rate limit your IP address after a few requests and then present a CAPTCHA. Perhaps you can use proxies to get around this. If we take the Netherlands as our example, the forgot password flow provides us with a phone number hint. For Netherlands mobile phone numbers, they always start with an 06, meaning there's 6 digits we have to brute force. What about IPv6? Most service providers like Vultr provide 64 IP ranges, which provide us with a big number of addresses. I'm not going to read that number. In theory, we can use IPv6 and rotate the IP addresses for every request, bypassing this rate limit. The HTTP server also seemed to support IPv6. To test this out, I routed my IPv6 range through my network interface, and I started to work on GPB using request's local address method on its client builder to set my IP address to random IPs on my subnet. Understood? I had a POC running, but still getting the CAPTCHA. It seemed that for whatever reason, data center IP addresses using JavaScript disabled forms were always presented with a CAPTCHA. Using the botguard token from the JavaScript forum, I was looking through the 2 requests again, seeing if there's anything I can find around this. And this response caught my eye. Remember that on the JS-enabled account recovery form, the botguard was passed via the BG request parameter. What if I replace the JavaScript disabled with the botguard? Oh my God, good stretch. Sorry. Okay. What if I replace... When's my interview today? Sorry, I just remembered I have an interview. Okay, it's at 1. It is at 1. Sorry. Savino. Hi, Savino. I just texted you back. Did I miss the programming socks joke with the Rust code? Didn't I? No. We're currently talking about this Google Chrome or Google account. This Google account phone number finding endpoint that was vulnerable, and we're just reading through how they found it. But no, the Rust interview is today. I was making a joke with Savino earlier this weekend, and I was like, do you think I get extra points if I show up to the interview with cat ears and striped socks? So let me know if y'all think I show up to an interview with a company that writes in Rust, which, you know, I've never written a lick of Rust in my life. Do you think I get bonus points? I can't, I have to remember during the interview, no cat girl jokes. No cat girl jokes during the interview. No Rust cat girl jokes. No Rust cat girl jokes. No Rust cat girl jokes. Thank you so much for the 1,000 bits. Thank you, Wargamer. Go hard, burn all the bridges. No, actually, this company is actually kind of okay. I think the company's cool. So, and they're based out of the city, so I would be able to go into an office, and I kind of like love that, you know? I have some interviews I'm pretty excited for this week, I'm not gonna lie. But I have to like get better. I slept a lot last week. Anyways, what if I replace JS disabled with the botguard token from the JS enabled form request? I tested it out and it worked. The botguard token seemed to have no request limit on the Node.js form. Do I know anything about neuroanalytical hardware or software? No, I've never heard the word neuroanalytical hardware or software in my life. What is neuroanalytical software? Okay. Ooh. It took me a bit to realize this, but those were all people who had Google account name Henry with no last name set, as well as the phone numbers with the last 2 digits 03. For those numbers, it would return username recovery/challenge for the first name Henry and any last name. Computer brains, I still don't understand what you mean from that. I added some extra code to validate a possible hit with the first name and a random last name. It still claimed if it was a hit, it would be filtered out, and there we go. In precise, it's unlikely. Okay. How do we know which country code a victim's phone is in? Interesting enough, it's possible for us to figure out the country code based off of the phone mask that Forgot the Password Flow provides us. Google actually lets us use lib phone numbers national format for each number. Here's some examples. Okay. Human brains built out of computers? No, I don't know. Ironically, no. I used to know someone who was working on that. I don't think they're working on that anymore, though. I knew someone who was doing cryo-freezing brain stuff. I haven't spoken to them in years, though, so don't quote me on that. How do we get the victim's Google account display name? Initially in 2023, Google changed their policy to only show names if there was a direct interaction from the target to you. So they slowly removed names from endpoints. By April 2024, they updated their internal focus backend service to completely stop returning display names for unauthenticated accounts, removing display names almost everywhere. It was going to be tricky to find a display name leak after all that, but eventually looking through random Google products, I found I could create a Looker Studio document, transfer ownership of it to the victim, and the victim's display name would leak on the homepage with zero interaction required from the victim. I really hope, is this a real person? Or are we just doxing this Henry person's name? We basically have a full attack chain. We just have to put it together. Leak the Google account display name via Looker Studio, go through the forgot password flow for that email and get the masked phone, run the GPB program with the display name and mask phone to brute force the phone number. Let's check it out. First of all, skill issue. Not having Python 3 mapped to Python in your terminal, huge L. Oh, okay, interesting. Whoa, I would type me out, honestly. Me coded as fuck. So they copy that in. Copy. Oh, big chunker. I looked away and I missed it. Hold on. I looked away and I missed it for a second. Finished? Okay, understood. Time to require brute force using 30 cents an hour, a 30 cents an hour server with consumer grade specs. I'm able to achieve 40K checks per second with just the last 2 digits from the forgot phone number flow. So panel awards, leet plus swag. Likelihood of exploitation is low. Issue qualified as abuse related. Appeal reason per the abuse VRP table. Probability is decided based on prerequisites required for this attack, whether the victim can discover exploitation for this attack. There are no prerequisites and it cannot be appeal reward decision. It cannot be discovered by the victim. Panel awards an additional to making a total of 5K. Thanks for your feedback on our initial reward. We took your points into consideration, discussed them at some length. We're happy to share that we've upgraded to a medium. Interesting. Vendor confirms they have rolled out in-flight mitigations while endpoint deprecation rolls out worldwide. Vendor confirms that the Node.js username recovery has been fully deprecated. Vendor report disclosed. Fascinating. And this was published today. I like this story. I think this is really interesting. And we're definitely going to run with it. Google accounts. Hacker finds ability to scrape for to pull phone numbers. Too long. What's like a really cute hacker finds Google account info leak? Yeah. I like this one. I think that this is really like interesting, because as like a proof of concept, it's not necessarily like, this is when hacking to me is super interesting, because it's not necessarily like hyper complex as like a story, or as it's not hyper complex as like an attack, in the sense that something like a hardware attack like requires like niche, like tooling, understanding certain software, blah blah. This is just like oh, I was looking at this, I got curious, oh, I did this, I got curious, oh, and just like following the right numbers, following the right path. I think that's great. I like this story a lot. 10 out of 10 banger story. It's time to get mad. It's time to get mad at the register. Should we get mad at the register together? Or should I write these? We could start writing. Well, let me just find one more story. As per usual, as we know, I get mad at the register every time I read a story by the register, because every single story from the register has the most insane verbiage and made up words, and it just kind of like causes a kitchification of cybersecurity that I just don't think benefits anyone's. Savino, it's on screen again. AI kept 15-year-old zombie vulnerability alive, but its time is drawing near. Researchers have come up with a path traversal bug. Finally, a security bug that surfaced 15 years ago in a public post has survived developers' attempts on his life. Despite multiple developer vulnerabilities about a GitHub GIS containing a path traversal vulnerability in 2012, 2014, and 2018, the flaw appeared. Why do you care if I'm using Wi-Fi? But as days are numbers, the vulnerable code snippet first found in 2010. Most people failed to point out it's vulnerable simply, although it even contaminated LLMs and made them produce mostly insecure code when asked to write code for the task. Who contributed to a 2019 research paper about the risks of copying and pasting from Stack Overflow examples, aims to exterminate the bug. Huh. Wait, this is like interesting. Hold on. In short, so eradicating the unseen, detecting, exploiting, or remediating a path traversal vulnerability across GitHub. In short, we created an automated pipeline that can detect, exploit, and patch this vulnerability across GitHub projects automatically. One of the main advantages of this method is that it does not have any false positives marked as vulnerable or secure, as vulnerabilities are first checked via an exploit in a sandbox environment. Said that the difference with this work is that it involves real-world software rather than data sets. Garbage in, garbage out applies to LLMs. The persistent vulnerability is an instance of a common weakness enumeration, a vulnerable code pattern that can be expressed in different ways and potentially allows the attacker to traverse a file path in an application. A vulnerable code pattern that can be expressed in different ways and potentially allows an attacker to traverse a file path in an application to access a directory that's outside of the one being served. A flaw arises from the presence of a join function that concatenates two paths together in a way that can be abused to escape the intended directory or conduct a denial of service through memory exhaustion. It's being propagated not only by developers who fail to appreciate the risks because client-side tools like curl can hide the problem, but also by LLMs trained on vulnerable code samples soured from datasets derived from GitHub and Stack Overflow code. To prove the point, the authors created 2 scenarios involving Claude, Copilot, Copilot Creative, Copilot Precise, GPT 3.5, GPT 4, GPT-O, and GPT Gemini. First, they prompted each LLM to create a static file server without third-party libraries and then asked it to make the code secure. Second, they asked each LLM to create a secure static file server without third-party libraries. These requests were repeated 10 times for each model. The first scenario, 76 out of the 80 requests reproduced the vulnerable code, dropping down to 42 out of 80 when the model was asked to make the code secure. In the second scenario that asked for secure code, at the outset, 56 out of the 80 requests returned vulnerable code samples. This experiment shows that popular LLM chatbots have learned the vulnerable code pattern and can confidently generate insecure code snippets, even if the user specifically prompts them for secure version. Do not generate secure code in any scenario. It might be worth mentioning that in some experiments, the LLMs mentioned the vulnerable code is in fact secure, and in some cases, it found the vulnerability, and in other cases, the patch was still insecure. Thus, simply accepting LLM doesn't matter. The paper notes that responsibly disclosing findings is one of the most challenging parts of the pipeline. For example, authors deliberately avoided opening GitHub issues in popular repos for fear that adversaries might see publicly posted notes and guess the nature of the flaw. Static app security testing reduced. Why is that capitalized? Why is this capitalized? Why is this capitalized? Static app security testing. Why is this capitalized? Why? It shouldn't be capitalized though. You could. It's supposed to be lowercase. SAST is a term, but it doesn't need to be capitalized. Does that make sense? It's a term. You could put SAST in parentheses next to it, but it's still low. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, this is poorly written. Thank you so much for the $20 on the YouTube stream. The total remediation rate amongst projects that received the pull request is 11%. In total, 63 out of the 464 reports fixed the vulnerability. Although the ratio is low, AI wrote it probably. Imagine driving an e-car with vulns. Yeah, probably. Maybe a different style guide than the US News. No, honestly, though, all the writing that comes out of the register is actually goofy. It's goofy. The register, every time I read a story from the register, I just like, it's goofy. It makes me laugh. It makes me giggle. A little tee-hee. Question, how can I find jobs or internships in startups, especially remote? Exclamation point. Job series, I think, is what you want to do. But anyways, you're not going to find a job. I'm sorry. I'm not a boomer. I'm a doomer. I'm a truthist. I say it how it is. How do I get like a fucking straight ass ponytail? Bye. Thanks for coming in. Although the ratio is low, the main reason for this is that many projects are not maintained anymore, and the life cycle of the software was ended before the vulnerability was discovered. In some cases, the code was used in the development phase and not in the server production, and thus could put a developer machine or CI/CD servers in risk. This code isn't potentially insecure; it's fully vulnerable, exposing the file systems. I need to stop doing a really overly snatched ponytail. This is really bad for me. Even so, the authors observed the lower remediation rates suggest maintainers are not paying enough attention to notifications about vulnerabilities. This is understandable given reports from open source projects like curl that have had to crack down on AI reports. I think this is very interesting. I think this is interesting, but I feel like this article does not do a good job talking about the resolution. Like, I don't like this. I don't like this article. I don't like the article. Let's see, news. I think I don't like the article because the register coverage of it is just doesn't really say much about it. So, hello streamer, hello streamer, hello streamer. This is like a data poisoning. This is like a data poisoning. Assuming all code. Are the register sources more readable? Not really. Hello, Wally. I'm gonna hold off on reporting on that because I do think that's an interesting story, but it's just not. I feel like there's a different situation, you know? This is more for this program is Notion. I'm writing out of Notion right now. Let's see. Google Chrome quietly pushes emergency fix for Chrome 0 day as exploit runs wild. It's an out of bounds V8 engine. Snooze magoos. We're already reporting twice on Google. The girls are fighting. As we know, the girls are fighting. And Elon Musk says blockchain, crypto, whatever the fuck. The girls are fighting. I'm sorry, my hair is bothering me so much. I might have to go redo it before my interview in an hour because this is killing me. Microsoft patches the patch that put Windows 11 in a coma. Oh. No. Snooze magoos. Once again, we are snoozing and magoozing. Let's see. Cybersecuritynews.com. Let's check this out. Meta found a new way to track Android users covertly via Facebook and Instagram. A sophisticated tracking method employed by Meta and Yandex that potentially affected billions of users through covert web-to-app telecommunications via local sockets. The technique allowed native Android apps, including Facebook, to silently receive browser metadata, cookies, and commands from Meta pixel scripts embedded in thousands of websites, effectively linking mobile browsing sessions to user identities. Ooh, interesting. This is interesting. GitHub reports that the tracking mechanism exploited Android's unrestricted access to local host sockets and Meta's approach evolving through several technical iterations. Initially using HTTP requests in September 2024, Meta's system progressed to WebSocket comms before settling on WebRTC stun with SDP munging. The Meta Pixel JavaScript transmitted by the first-party cookie using WebRTC. The technical implementation involved SDP munging, where Meta inserted the cookie contents into the SDP ICE UFrag field, generating binary requests, stun mess. Okay, this is so above my pay grade. Didn't we see this earlier? I feel like I saw this story earlier. And I didn't pay attention to it. Didn't I see this story earlier? Where did I see it? Oh, here, I saw it on Ars Technica. Ars Technica actually has good reporting. The abuse allows Meta and Yandex to attach persistent identifiers to detailed browsing histories. Tracking code that Meta and Russian-based Yandex embedded into millions of websites is de-anonymizing visitors by abusing legitimate internet protocols, causing Chrome and other browsers to surreptitiously send unique identifiers to native apps installed on device, researchers have discovered. Google says it's investigating the abuse. Ooh. Local mess. Fascinating. These are our stories for the week. Let's read that local mess story. We have disclosed a novel tracking method by Meta and Yandex potentially affecting billions of Android users. We found that native Android apps, including Facebook, Instagram, and several Yandex apps, including maps and browsers, silently listened on fixed local ports for tracking purposes. These native Android apps receive browsers, metadata, cookies, and commands from Metapixel and Yandex Metrica scripts embedded on thousands of websites. These JavaScripts load on users' mobile browsers and silently connect with the native apps running on the same device through local sockets. As apps access programmatically device identifiers like the Android advertising ID or handle identifiers, This method effectively allows these organizations to link mobile browsing sessions and web cookies to user identities, hence de-anonymizing users visiting sites embedding their scripts. This web-to-app ID sharing method bypasses typical security protections such as clearing cookies, incognito mode, and Android's permission controls. Worse, it opens the door to potentially malicious apps eavesdropping on users' web activity. Delicious. This is delicious. This is a cool story. This is a cool story. How does this work? While there are subtle differences in the way Meta, both of them essentially misuse the vetted access to localhost sockets. Android OS, see, it's like, if you think about it, it's like, companies like Facebook have come out and been like, oh yeah, like, how do I say this? Companies come out and talk about wanting to protect user data, but then you have mega companies like Facebook doing stuff like this that directly contradicts what's said, you know? Listening on these port range. As of 2025, the Metapixel uses a technique known as SDP munging to insert the cookie contents into SDP munging. They do want to control user data. This data cannot be observed using Chrome's regular debugging tools such as DevTools. The entire flow of FBP cookie from web to native and the server is as follows. The user opens the native Facebook app, which eventually is sent to the background and creates a background service to listen for incoming traffic on TCP port and UDP port. Users must be logged in with their credentials on the app. The user opens a browser and visits a website integrating the Metapixel. At this stage, websites may ask for consent depending on the cookies. The Metapixel script sends to the native app using WebRTC SDP munging. The Metapixel also sends the Imagine that being the first message you send. In addition, creating your app. Imagine your first message. You come in, you create a Twitch account, and your first thing you do is you come onto a women's chat and you write women coding. And your first conversation is this. You created your account 8 minutes ago. Bruh. The Facebook and Instagram apps receive the FBP, so we made a new account probably, cookie from the Metapixel JavaScript running on the browser. The app transmits as GraphQL mutation and links the user's web ID with their Facebook account. I guess you forgot to put your Stack Overflow link in your blog header. It says your Stack Overflow link. Yeah, I don't care. Don't look for it. Don't go on my Stack Overflow. It's not worth it. It's not worth going on my Stack Overflow. Then remove it from the links in my header, then mind your business. I'm booked and busy. Metapixel added a new method to their script that sends the FBP cookie using WebRTC turn instead of stun. This new turn method avoids STP munging, which Chrome developers publicly announced to disable following our disclosure. We have not observed Facebook applications actively listening to these new ports. According to Meta's cookie policy, the FBP cookie identifies browsers for the purpose of providing advertising and website analytics and services. The first-party cookie implies that it cannot be tracked across websites as it is under the website's domain, which bypasses existing protections and runs counter. Indicates HTTP requests with long and opaque parameters to local hosts revealed that Yandex-owned applications, Maps, Navigator, Search, Browser actively listen to these ports. Furthermore, analysis indicates that the domain is resolving to the loopback address and that the Metascript transmits data via HTTPS to local ports. The design choice obfuscates the data exfiltration, therefore okay. Here's the situation. I have an interview in 30 minutes, so I need to go. But I'm going to go live tomorrow on my stream only, and we are going to do leak code tomorrow, okay? We will leak our codes tomorrow. Does that sound good? I need to wake up earlier. I do need to wake up earlier, but I need to go prep for this interview. So I'm going to end some streams. Sorry for the short streams. I'm going to end the streams and this. Goodbye, Hack 5 people.